Welcome to Proline TV as we take a look at this Sunday's FireKeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway. Kevin Rogers with you as we take a look at this race, and we've seen five different winners the last 5 weeks, capped off by Ryan Blaney winning in Nashville last week. So we'll see if the streak continues of a new driver winning every week, and should be a pretty interesting race coming up at Michigan. So, with all of that being said, a couple of things to look at before we get to the odds and a couple of best bets. The last few years, we've seen some different winners here at this race. Tyler Reddick won last year in 2024. Chris Buescher back in 2023. Kevin Harvick, who is now in the TV booth, he won in 2022, and Ryan Blaney back in 2021. So we've seen different winners last few weeks overall, and also different winners over the last few years in this race at Michigan. So let's take a look now at the odds for this week, and this according to DraftKings. And no surprise, Kyle Larson is the favorite going into Sunday's race at plus 550. Denny Hamlin right behind at 6-1. Hamlin's gone 7 straight races at Michigan with a top 10 finish. So Hamlin obviously in the mix there. Ryan Blaney 7-1, and he won here a few years ago. William Byron and Tyler Reddick each at 8-1. And then Christopher Bell at plus 850. And then we get to Chase Elliott at 12-1. Ross Chastain and Joey Logano each at 14-1. And then a couple other drivers at 18-1, including Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, and Carson Hocevar. Chris Buescher at 22-1, Bubba Wallace and Brad Keselowski each at 28-1. And then we get into the 35 range of Josh Berry and Alex Bowman at 35-1, Austin Cindric at 40-1, and then Ty Gibbs at 45-1, followed by Eric Jones. And then we get to Ryan Preece at 65-1, Daniel Suarez at 90-1, and then a lot of the long shots there towards the end. And for this race coming up at Michigan on Sunday, you wonder if we're going to get one of the favorites to win again or not. Also, a couple other markets to look at as far as the top 10 goes. And Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, all in a heavy favorite range there. And one note on Kyle Larson, it doesn't apply this week, but just moving forward, did notice that when Kyle Larson finishes, I believe it's 20th or lower this year, he's finished in the top 10 the next week. Now, 2 races ago, he finished below that, and then he finished top 10 at Nashville last week. So something maybe to keep an eye on moving forward if Kyle Larson has a bad race to get him to bounce back in the next race. And obviously, you got to lay a lot to get there, but he's been pretty money as far as that goes. Now, when we look at the head-to-head props so far on DraftKings, only a few of them listed, and including Kyle Larson at minus 125, opposite Denny Hamlin at minus 105, the top 2 favorites on the board. Carson Hocevar at minus 150 against Ty Gibbs. So Hocevar heavy favorite there. Ryan Blaney minus 125 against Christopher Bell, and Chris Buescher against Bubba Wallace. And those are the head-to-heads currently available on DraftKings. So with all of that being said, we're going to now take a look at our best bets for this week. And we're going to begin with the outright winner. We had Christopher Bell last week, which obviously was a loser. We did have Ross Chastain a few weeks ago, and he came out with the big win. But we're going to go with another 22-1 shot like we did 2 weeks ago. And we're going to take a shot with Chris Buescher here. Now, for Buescher, he has seen some success at Michigan. And, well, first of all, he's got 5 top 10 finishes this year on the circuit, so he's done well. He did win here in 2023, finished 6th last year, and taking him at 22-1 odds, I don't think is a bad price to get him at. So we're going to look at Chris Buescher as our outright winner for this week. Now, as far as the head-to-heads, we've done well with this. We had Ryan Blaney last week, and that was an outright he won the race outright, but we had his head-to-head winner. And this week, we're going to take him opposite Christopher Bell. Now, a couple notes here on Ryan Blaney. Now, you would think after you win a race, maybe you take a step back the following week. it's very natural. But for Blaney, since 2023, here's how he's finished after wins: 6th, 12th, 2nd, 25th, 3rd, and 2nd. So 5 of the 6 finishes 12th or higher, 4 of them top 6. He's had one bad finish after a win. So Blaney normally doesn't disappoint after he picks up a win. Also, since 2020, he has finished in the top 10 4 of 6 times at Michigan, one in 2021. So he's seen success there. Now, looking at Christopher Bell, he has never finished higher than 13th in 6 career races at Michigan. So Bell has not had a lot of success at this track. He's fared very well this year. 10 top 10 finishes. Also, he had the 3 consecutive races he won earlier in the season. But we're going to go with Ryan Blaney at -125 against Christopher Bell as our head-to-head for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Proline TV, and we'll have plenty more on this race going into the weekend, and you could find all the videos there. Again, Proline TV on YouTube TV. We'll be back with you coming up next week. I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, best of luck with your bets.